Hey, so you might be frustrated of your NoFap journey and might want to quit. Stop counting days, try some other strategy, but you may be lacking the missing link. And in this video, if you give me a couple minutes, I'm going to put all the things into place for you to know what you should even do and how to count days effectively. Hello, my name is Marius. I'm a med student. I'm a suicide hotline volunteer. I suffered from porn addiction for 10 years. I was able to quit it. Now I help others. I've helped over 90 people in my free community, and I share what I learned on this channel. So I started seeing the pattern with the people that I was working with. I find them on forums, I find them in certain communities. I invite them on my community and I tell them, please post your relapses, right? Count days, and whenever you relapse, please post it. It gives me a lot of context to help you. And also if you post that, it kind of gives you that reason, that extra lock to try harder, because you're going to have some accountability. But what usually happens is that people quit very fast. It takes like 3, 4, 5 relapses and they want to try a different strategy. But that's exactly when you should double down on the strategy that worked for so many others. NoFap. Instead of quitting, you should push the gas pedal even further. You should seek even more accountability. You should try even harder. The problem is that people expect and want something easy. They want an easy transformation. But what they don't realize is that instead of running from pain, it's much more effective to face it head on and to realize it's not that bad. Pain is good. Pain means that you're growing, that you're transforming. It is not supposed to be easy. Now let's talk about the strategy that a lot of people tend to recommend. It's called the less fab strategy. So essentially, instead of trying to go without porn and masturbation forever, you taper off how much you fab in a set period of time. So the most common practice is actually how many times you fab per month and just reducing it month after month after month. People are attracted to this strategy more because it seems easier. It seems like a more logical, more realistic way of dealing with your addiction. But what if I told you that it's actually harder to quit porn with the less fab strategy? Personally, I haven't heard of one person who effectively destroyed the porn addiction with the less fab strategy. That's just head on. I just want to get that out of the way. It's true that people can significantly reduce how much we fab, but relapsing, even once a month, is still a relapse. The reason why less fab is harder, because with no fab, you just make the decision and you don't have to overthink. You just don't do it. And if you do it, you analyze what has happened and you learn from it and you implement those learning lessons in the future. With less fab, you're kind of just justifying the relapses. If one month you had 10 relapses and this month you have 5 relapses and you're getting an urge, you're not going to try as hard to not give into it. You just constantly have to overthink, analyze, count how many times did you relapse. That's a total opposite of freedom. And freedom is what we want when dealing with porn addiction. Now, since I'm a Christian, right, I want to base my understanding of the world on the gospel. So, what does the gospel say about sinning less? Do you think that sinning less is actually the way that the gospel supports? Or does it say that you have to uproot the sin as fast and as hard as possible as soon as you notice it? So if someone is a liar, for example, should we just lie less and over time stop lying? Or should we just make the decision to not lie? And if we lie, we are going to confess, we're going to repent, we will promise to not do the same thing again. Honestly, that seems like a more reasonable approach. And the one thing is that it's not about counting the days that it's bad but people are afraid of. Is that they feel like they are not in control. And you're only not in control when counting days is the only thing that you do. I learned it from my own experience, right? For years, I was just hoping that one day my streak will last forever, right? And I had longer streaks, had shorter streaks, but I never felt as if I made transformation. My life turned 180 degrees. So what do you do instead of counting days? You heard the saying that don't count the days, make the days count. So what I've done is I actually made a journal specifically for understanding my addiction. I wanted to know the patterns that lead me to relapsing, because I noticed that my relapses happen at a particular time, at a particular place, after getting triggered by the same exact thing. So I made this journal, right? I call that the NoFap cheat sheet. And I started noticing that my most common pattern was at night, laying in my bed while scrolling on my phone. That's something that a lot of people share, by the way. And I made my decision to figure out a way to never relapse in that particular scenario. It took me some trial and error, but eventually what I've done is I left my phone outside the room. I went for a walk at night before going to sleep to calm my nerves down. And whenever I would get an urge, right, to go and pick up my phone, instead I would go into another room and I would pray or do something else just to keep my mind busy. A few weeks go by, and I don't feel the need to ever pick up my phone at night. The second most often pattern was also in bed, this time early in the morning. But fortunately for me, it took care of itself because I took the phone out of my room, out of arm's reach, right? So I just became more vigilant of what happens, and I worked my way backwards and destroyed those patterns. That's how I got days on the calendar with no relapses. Now, if I used the less fab strategy, I wouldn't take such measures. All I would care about is just using my own willpower, which never worked in the first place. I hope this video helps you. If you're looking for a closely knit Christian man or trying to become virtuous in the eyes of God, if you're looking for guidance and free accountability, you can join my community in the description down below.